Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Aziz Samuel Abdul Aziz Bubaus. I'm the CEO of the whole Wealth Group, from wealth consulting to wealth corporate services provider to wealth estate to private processing. And today I will share with you the payment processing masterclass. We discovered our whiteboard here. It was a long day. It's already 11 in the evening, but we need to make this video because we know you are suffering right now from one of the main e-commerce issues that everybody is facing. Either Stripe is holding your funds, or maybe you're worried to lose your Shopify payments account, or Wise is holding your funds, or you're worried that Relay or Mercury is blocking you. So everything is not really stable for you, and probably you are angry because you're making millions or you want to make millions, but now Stripe is just treating you like some guy from the street in some online chat, not really helping you and holding your funds, and you think you need this funds released, you need stable banking, you need stable payment processing, and this is exactly what we from wealth consulting and private processing solve every single day. So in this presentation, you will learn the differences between fintech banks and real banks. You will learn the differences between payment aggregators and private processing. And in this video, you will learn how to 10x and 100x your money and your business with our strategies. So we start with level number 1, and this is if you make right now less than 500,000 US dollar per month. And we will show you the steps that we go with our clients every single day. And then usually after some time, we are anyways at level 2, and level 2 is 500,000 until $10 million per month. So let's get started with this structure. So this is level 1. All of our clients who make less than 500K per month usually operate perfectly fine with a US LLC. I explained you 500,000 times why US LLCs are the best company setup in the world. If you're non-US citizen, non-US resident, you don't have too much substance in the US. Of course, little disclaimer, this here is no tax advice at all. This is just my interpretation of the law, of the current situation, but in 99% of all cases, US LLCs are the best company setup in the world. And I don't know one successful e-commerce client, one successful e-commerce business partner who doesn't have a US LLC. So US LLCs are 100% a no-brainer. You get started with neobanks like Wise, like Relay, like Mercury, and you get started with payment aggregators, which are basically neobanks of the payment processing world. These are Stripe, Shopify payment accounts, or Airwallex accounts. And this is perfectly fine to get started, and it's just the fastest, simplest way to get started. Why is it? I will show you how these payment aggregators work. So number 1, if you use Stripe or Shopify payments or Airwallex, as you probably do, you realize that the onboarding process is extremely fast. And this is why these payment aggregators are growing and growing and growing, because they have good referral programs, and probably all the other guys in the e-commerce industry are using these platforms. And because it's so fast, you just have your login, short KYC, and you can get started directly, and that's why everybody is doing it. And number 2, which is also good, is obviously they have a great platform and they have great integration, so it's very easy to handle. Doesn't matter if it's in payment processing, Stripe, Shopify payments, it just looks nice. It's a nice login, nice dashboard, everything seems to work perfectly. The same like when you have Wise, for example, it just looks really good, and that's why people tend to just use it. But over some time, when you make more money, you start to see the disadvantages, the huge disadvantages of these payment aggregators. For example, support. You just have an online chat. And this was the first thing where I realized, wait, somehow this can't be, right? Because when I had the subscription business a few years ago and I made really good money and I realized, hey, now I have $500,000 per month in subscriptions, what if Stripe doesn't like me anymore? What if I do one mistake? What if I have too much chargebacks? What if they tell me that I'm a high-risk business just because I'm working internationally in multiple jurisdictions, and all of a sudden, boom, they can just block my account or hold my funds, and everything that I've built is basically gone. So this was really worrying about for me. And you see that this is usually always the reality. So people who get blocked from Stripe, you can't even text online chat anymore. This function is not available anymore. You need to send them an email, and after 21 days you get a response, hey, please send me documents, which you already sent them 10 times. And this is just a really bad feeling to get treated like shit, to be honest, when you make a lot of money. This is not the case with private processing, because with private processing, it's the private banking of the payment processing world. So you have one-on-one support, the company is helping you, they do everything for you, they are basically acting like your business partner because they want that you are more and more and more successful, and they help you with everything, so you don't need to worry. And this is the next point. You always worried with fintech bank accounts and payment aggregators that they just freeze your account all of a sudden. Why is it? You will see later on how this payment aggregator works, but to make it short, they are not a real payment processor. They are just a sub-account of a sub-account, basically. The same like a fintech bank is not a real bank, they are just a bank under a bank. So they are always under the mercy of the real bank or the real payment processor, and that's when there's one red flag, they just block your account and you can't do anything. This will not happen with private processing, because there you have full stability, you have reliability, and absolutely nothing can happen. And you will see later on how the system works, and you will understand completely why it's so stable. And the fifth point is obviously payment aggregators are not flexible at all. And they also don't care whatever you need, they don't care. They have one system which is working perfect for them. All this is perfectly fine when you start to make money, because when you start to make money up to 500K per month, anyways, you need to build track record, you need to build bank credibility, you need to build credit score, have good bank statements. And usually these fintech banks and these payment aggregators are focused on this type of target group, people who make 0 up to 500K per month. And this is level 1. But sooner or earlier, you want to level up to level 2. And level 2 means you need good local banking. For US LLCs, we usually always recommend Chase JP Morgan. And you need good, stable payment processing, aka private processing. And when you have these two things, you shouldn't think about this in level 1 because it's too early. These banks don't really want you when you make 50K per month. These banks don't really want you if you're not able to put at least 100K on this bank account. And the same is with private processors. They don't really want you if you make not at least 200K per month, if you don't have any bank statements. So you shouldn't think about it too early. But if you're on this level or soon on this level, you need to build a new substance. And this is what we do with all of our clients. And this will really free you. Because I remember a few years ago when I was worried nonstop about everything in my business, basically, about my payment processing, about my banking, because I thought, hey, I make too much money. But then I thought, wait, this can't be. There are companies who make 100 million, who make billions, who send wires of 500 million, and they are not worried. How are they doing it? They have good banking, good payment processing, and I realized that this is exactly what I need. And since I have this, and all of our clients, once they have this, they just feel more peace and more freedom, because they know that their business is now stable and not one thing overnight which can just destroy their business. So, how does it actually work? Just for you to understand that this is not some nonsense and that in the future you will have the same stability. Obviously, good bank accounts, pretty clear. They are just stable. Once you've done the KYC, you will not lose these bank accounts. Payment processing, just for you to have a short understanding. Here you have your online shop. Then you have the merchant service provider. Here you have the acquiring bank or merchant bank. And there is the payout. So what are we doing with private processing to give you a stable payment gateway and at the same time to make sure that nothing can happen to you? Number one is obviously, like we already mentioned, here the onboarding takes longer. And this is something which you always need to know. Why is it so important? Very easy. Because you have fast onboarding with Stripe, fast onboarding with Shopify Payments, fast onboarding with Wise, with Relay, with Mercury, and so on and so forth. The issue with this fast onboarding, fast KYC is that a few weeks later or a few months later, they will have questions again. And when they don't have the answer, boom, directly restricted, funds on hold. While real banks and real payment processors need more time for this onboarding process, but then they have already all informations in advance, so you know they will not ask you any question later on. And that's why it's so important. The onboarding process, how long it takes, it can take 2 weeks, it can take 2 months. It really depends on, do you have a good track record? Do you have bank statements of 3 to 6 months? Can you put at least 100K in your bank or to the processor? Which rate do you want? Do you have a business partner who is US citizen or not? Do you have an ITIN or not? There are many different factors, so it really depends. But usually 2 weeks up to 2 months, but that's why you need to get started with it as soon as possible. And then you have your partner. And what's really important is here, normally you are underwritten with multiple banks. So you can be underwritten with 1 bank, 2 banks, 3 banks. Which means that even in the case that in the future one bank doesn't like you because maybe it was Black Friday and you had too many chargebacks, you did one mistake, or maybe the informations with the payment processor on your website were different, or maybe something went wrong with the subscription, maybe you have a high-risk business, many different factors, you're still underwritten with 2 other banks. And this gives you the full flexibility, the full stability. While when it comes to your banking, I never and our clients never had one issue with Chase, JP Morgan, but you can obviously also have multiple bank accounts. So what should happen in this structure, right? Nothing can happen. And then you receive your payouts to your business bank account and everything works perfectly. And this is a system actually very simple, and just for you to repeat and to remember why is it so important for your business and how does it work, because I saw it all the times that it's really possible to bring a business from 500K to 5 million just because private processing and good banking. Number one, normally these private processors help you with merchant funding. It's usually, let's say you make 500K per month, they usually give you 2 months of receivables, so they can give you $1 million in merchant cash advance as funding if you need it. For example, for acquisitions or to just expand, many different things. That's why it's so good to build a great relationship with your private processor, why it's so important to build a good relationship with your bank, why it's anyways so important to build good relationships. And you probably realize that with this fintech companies, you can't really build a relationship. It's just a robot system basically. And this is the next thing, why you level up with private processing. And this is high-level business partners and financial advisors, because your private processor is basically your financial business partner who wants to make sure that you do everything right with your business. While you are involved maybe in the operations, involved with your emotions, they see it from a neutral perspective. They tell you, you know, you need to manage your chargebacks, you need to do this, you need to scale here. This is what your competition is doing. Usually they are industry experts, they have all the knowledge. For example, in the past, I had one good payment processing partner, and they said, hey, we work with all your competitors, we know everything about them, we will help you, we want you to succeed. And that's why it's so important, and that's why it's so helpful. Number 3 is fund release. Usually, if you're already facing issues with payment processing, many times you have a lot of funds on hold. And we, with private processing, connect you to our right partners who help you to release your funds, and then you obviously have more capital to work with. And we made the experience with our partners, so this is nothing that we do in-house, just for you to know. With our partners, we made the experience that 90% of all funds can be released very easily, very fast. The next advantage with private processing is obviously connections, because you need to get out of the slave system, get out of this matrix, and instead you need to build your own community, your own system. And with this, what do you have at the end? You have good connections with banks. Then you have good connections, so they help you, for example, with fulfillment. Then they help you to set up everything else that you need, because this is usually always important long term, that also everything else works perfectly for you, right? And this is just the perfection of the system. So usually once we did everything for all of our clients, we also help them, of course, to get a good manager in PayPal, for example, that the crypto payments work, that just whatever you need for your e-commerce business, that it's just working perfectly. And the most important thing is focus. Because I see it with high-level businesses that many times the owner is 50% of his time occupied just with banking problems, with KYC, with payment processing problems, and with taxes, sometimes 99% of all the time. And of course, you can't focus anymore on scaling your business. While if you have this peace of mind, if you know banking is stable, payment processing is stable, so now you can make launches without worrying. You can start with subscriptions and you don't need to worry anymore. You can focus on Black Friday and don't need to worry anymore. And just everything is just really there to scale your business. And this is my little summary of the payment processing blueprint. I hope this video could help you. And if you want to learn more about how we can help you to grow and protect your wealth, how to set up the right companies in the US, in Hong Kong, how to release your funds, how to get good local banking, how to get stable private processing, then just go to wealthconsulting.com, book a call with us, and I would say see you on the call, see you in the next video, or see you in real life.